Hello, what's up, guys? Just chilling here again at the drive-ins. Figured I'd go to the drive-ins and hang out with you guys. What's up, Susurrus Apprentice? Just chilling and waiting for some of you guys to come in here. If anybody's out there, let me know in the comments. Seems like it's being kind of slow to connect into everybody. But yeah, so I'm out at the drive-ins. I'm gonna see the new Mission Impossible. My hat. Gonna see the new Mission Impossible for the second time. I already saw it the other day. I've seen everything here though, so I figured I would see something else. Any of you guys out there? What's going on? How come nobody's? Anybody out there? What's up, guys? There you are. For some reason, I had to like hit refresh in order to see everybody. So what's up, guys? How are you guys doing tonight? Let's see who we got here. We got Susurrus Apprentice, Leslie, Diane, the Boogeyman. What's up, guys? Joe Running, Shyla W, Shadow. All right, I got a question from John Running. If you could pick the next actor to play Freddy Krueger, who would it be? I would pick someone that's kind of an unknown actor because I've said this before. I think if you're going to reboot a franchise, you got to make sure that it's a young actor so that you can build a franchise around them. Because the reason we feel so connected to Robert Englund is because we have years of seeing him as Freddy. You can't put I don't think you should grab a star and try to put them, like a big name star. Like you see a lot of people saying like um who are some of the big names? But a lot of times also it's like an older actor. And I'm like, yeah, maybe they'd work for one movie, but then what? So now we have one new Freddy movie, Nightmare on Elm Street, and now we're stuck with the same problem. You need to reboot it, start over from the beginning. It's kind of like what we're seeing with Superman. As much as everybody loved Henry Cavill and all of that, if you're going to reboot the franchise, you can't do it with Henry Cavill because he's pretty close to being in the older age group, like into the older side, of his prime. You need a young cast. You need young people. You need someone that we can build a new franchise around. So if you're gonna reboot Nightmare on Elm Street, I feel like you gotta go with someone that's in their 20s. You know, you got to go with someone that's young, and let's start it from the beginning. You know, 20s, 30, like the oldest kind of thing. Kind of like what we did with Robert England in the beginning, because I think he was right around 30-ish, 35, something like that. I think he was a little older, but I think you get my point. Let's see. Have you seen any of the new Children of the Corn? Yeah, it's awful. I actually did a review of it, and I thought it was pretty abysmal. I did find a few things about it that weren't horrible. I thought the little girl that played the main lead, the villain or whatever, I thought she was pretty good in it. She definitely made some choices, but she went all in with those choices, and I thought she was actually pretty decent. In general, I thought the cast was okay. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a silly. I had a lot of problems. I wasn't a fan of the dialogue at all, and the way it was written. I did like that we finally got to see who walks behind the rose, but then it was also a really stupid looking creature. So yeah. Uh, so like our normal thing, if you have a question, please make sure you leave it your comment. You say question and then follow it by you know with your question. So that way I can just scroll through these and just see the ones that have questions. Yeah, it was so weird. Like I wasn't seeing any of the comments. It was nothing was happening, and I was starting to worry. And so I went to check and make sure that I had selected it as public. But what's up, L Train? Nini Jelly Beanie. Okay. Yeah, Robert Englund had done. I'm not saying you should get an actor that doesn't have any experience. I don't mean that. I just mean a no-name actor, like someone that doesn't have like that sunlight. Not like anyone that's a huge name. That's all I mean. I mean, I want someone that's got some experience. They don't just throw some rookie actor in playing Freddy. Give it a legit. There we go. That's a better. Give it a legit shot. But just don't put it as someone that's like a household name already. Don't put like a. I'm trying to remember some of the names that we see thrown around. Like Bacon, like Kevin Bacon. Like, dude, seriously, Kevin Bacon's almost, like he's almost as old as Robert Englund at this point too. Come on. Let's see, but if you can only pick one horror movie to recommend, what would it be? It all depends on what streaming service you're looking for. Uh, what type of horror movie are you looking for? Do you want a hidden gem, or am I recommending it to a horror or to like someone who's never watched any horror movies before? Like, there's so many different criteria. Like, if it's someone who's never watched a horror movie before, and I got to recommend them watch their very first horror movie kind of thing, it's tricky because if you could only have one horror movie ever, it would be The Thing for me. But I wouldn't recommend that to someone who's never watched any horror movies before. I'd probably recommend them something like Scream or Nightmare on Elm Street, or I don't know, something a little more mainstream friendly. I guess Nightmare on Elm Street isn't really perfect for that, but it had a lot of mainstream success. But my personal pick is Phantasm. I adore Phantasm. I love Phantasm. And then I definitely would recommend. Let's see. For Hidden Gem, it would be The Hills Run Red, or yeah. There's tons of original horror. Like I kind of wonder, like for you to say that, it makes me wonder if you've been keeping up with like all the horror movies that have been coming out in theaters, because there's been a lot more original horror movies coming out than there is reboots and remakes. Like way more. I mean, look at last year. You had Barbarian, Smile, um, Fresh. What else? Uh, I mean, this year. I mean, there's just always a bunch of them. Like we have one coming out next week. Called oh, what's the name of that new one coming out next week? It's the one where the trailer where there's that like hand and you have to ask a question to the hand, and I'm can one of you guys please tell me what movie that is? It's coming out next week. But there's tons and tons and tons of original horror coming out constantly. A24 constantly comes out with and so does Blumhouse. So I think maybe just keep an eye on my channel a little bit more and look at the movies I review and stuff. See, question. So make sure you're putting question, just like L Train did. This is how you do it. Question: have you seen the trailer for the new A24 movie Talk to Me? Thank you. That's the one I was talking about. You're probably yelling at because you put this a little bit ago. You're probably yelling at me like, "Talk to me, talk to me." But anyway, yeah, Talk to Me. That's an original movie. That's not any IP or anything, and that looks like it's going to be fantastic. And it comes out next week. I'm so excited for that movie. Uh, and then The Last Voyage of the Demeter, which is kind of Dracula, but it's not like a reboot of Count Dracula or anything like that. It's just an excerpt from the book, and that comes out. We just have a lot of original horror movies coming out. So yeah, L Train, I am extremely excited for that movie, and I will definitely 100% be reviewing it on the channel. I don't think it's next week though. It's the week after next. So it's like the first week of July, or I mean August, I believe. Question: Amanda's uh, Booktopia. I know you make many movie recommendations on your channel, but if you only could pick, I already answered that. How come that? That's weird. All right, Suspicious Apprentice. Question: what do you think of the Children of the Corn remake from 2009 with David Anders and Kenneth Cars from 2009? I honestly don't even really remember it. I know I've seen it, but I don't really remember it. I don't remember being like blown away by it or anything. I've just never been a huge fan of any of the Children of the Corns. Even the first one, I feel like it's a little bit slow, a little bit boring, but it is a good movie. It's got some interesting characters and suspense and stuff. But after that, I feel like they're really not great. I've never really understood why they're so popular. And I don't mean to like judge anyone that does enjoy them, but yeah. Okay, I don't know why everybody's thinking Leslie. What did you do, Leslie? Oh, okay, okay. What's my favorite what? I love Asian horror films. Most of them just screw with you. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I need to watch more. It's tricky because um, I struggle with subtitles because of my vision, my eyesight, and on top of that, I have really bad dyslexia. But I do 100% try to watch Asian horror when I can because it does very much fuck with you like that. So much of it is psychological, and that's some of my favorite horror. All right, question from Amanda Booktopia. What is your favorite 2023 horror movie so far? It's got to be Evil Dead Rise. I haven't been blown away with the horror movies so far this year. I mean, I've had a good time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they've been bad, but there hasn't been any so far that have really blown me away. The closest would be Evil Dead Rise, which I love. I absolutely love, and um, Infinity Pool, which I really really enjoy too. But that's more of like an art thing. Yes, it's in the horror genre, but it doesn't quite feel true blue horror to me. But I absolutely loved it. But everything else has just been okay. I feel like the best is to come. I feel like we have a couple coming up. Talk to Me is one of them. But I just feel like I've seen trailers and a few other things I've heard about that I'm like, man, we got some really good ones coming up. That's why I do what I do on this channel. Because if you can't afford to go to the movies, like I at least can help you out. And even if you can't afford the streaming services, that's why I do so many on Tubi because it's free, and so that way I can help. Hopefully, everybody always have something to watch for their weekend. I go by myself. I never ever like look. I'm by myself right now. I never have someone to go to the movies with. It's a little weird at first, but you get comfortable with it and you get to where you actually enjoy it because it's kind of like your quiet time to reflect and I don't know. It's hard to even explain, but I very much enjoy watching movies by myself now. But it was. I'm glad you made it, Cammy Q, but it was a little difficult in the beginning. But I highly recommend, even if it's just like once a month, go to a movie by yourself. What's up, Artemis? See, question from Daryl. Have you seen The Devil Comes at Night from 2023? If so, what did you think? No, but that sounds really familiar. Is that on Tubi? Is that one of the new Tubi releases, or is that a rental still? Because I generally don't rent movies. I wait for them to hit Shutter or something like that. Because if I only unless it's got a lot of buzz. I generally don't review them rentals because then I'm gonna recommend you guys, and you got to go and rent them. And it's like if there's a lot of buzz, then I will. But a lot of times, you know. Oh, memberships. Well, thank you, Leslie, for gifting memberships. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I lost my place. I hate when it does that. It like I click one thing and it scrolls like for days up, and I don't know where it was at. See, from Boogeyman. Question: have you seen The Beast Below on Prime? No, I don't think so. Is that a newer one or an older one? It does. I feel like I've scrolled across that movie though. Oh, I loved A Classic Horror Story. I thought that movie was so cool. I've recommended it a couple times. It's on Netflix. You do have to read subtitles, but that movie's badass. It's savage and gory. There's some pretty brutal scenes in it, but it's got some cool twists and turns. Um, it looks good. It's got some really solid acting. It's just a fun, legit horror movie. Um, yeah, I've recommended it on I think two different Netflix lists because I think it's just something that everybody should check out if you're, you know, if you have Netflix. Let's see. Question. I know you mostly talk about movies, but do you read any? No, I don't read, unfortunately. I've done a few audiobooks, but my eyesight's really bad. I have a really shitty attention span. And so the only times I've been able to do like audiobooks is if I'm on road trips. And then a lot of times I'd prefer podcast over that. But I grew up reading a lot until my eyesight started going, and also my dyslexia got worse and worse. So like I would read as a kid, but it was like um, children's books kind of thing. So it was a lot more simple because I basically forget everything I read by the end of the page. And it's, I don't know, I have a really weird, yeah. But then I also have like Mr. OCD, or not OCD, ADD brain that's horrific too. But I'm not trying to make excuses, just letting you know I don't read. And I wish I could, I wish I did. I've tried over and over and over, and it's just a massive struggle for me. So instead, I do documentaries and movies and things like that. I know you said you have trouble with subtitles, but have you seen any anime horror? No, I've just never really gotten into anime horror. It's not just the subtitles because I watch foreign horror. It's just I don't know. I've been told forever, but to check it out. But it's one of those things where I feel like you gotta like choose your lane, and especially with this YouTube channel, I only have enough time to kind of do just this small sliver of things. And if I try to also add anime or horror gaming or you know graphic novels or any of these other things, then I will no longer be like and I don't even really consider myself an expert, but at least have somewhat expertise on one thing. You know what I mean? And so that's why my channel is kind of a narrow thing. I just focus on the streaming services and the new releases that are in theaters for the most part, and talk about those movies, because if I try to do anything beyond that, it just gets to, I mean, as it is, I'm barely able to keep up on this because there's just times where you get burned out. Like, you just don't want to watch movies. Like, I've been struggling with that recently, and I have to kind of like force myself, and it's like you don't ever want to force yourself to watch entertainment, but when it's your job, that's kind of, it's just part of the deal. It's like it doesn't make me love it any less, but it just has it's like anything, it has things that are a challenge. And so I have to be careful to not overwhelm myself. So generally, if it's not horror movies that I'm watching or listening to things to do with true crime, or documentaries. I love stuff about history and science. So it's kind of like totally different. It's not even fiction related. It's totally different from horror movies. And so that way, when I go back to horror movies, I can enjoy them again. Because the thing is that you can force yourself, you can definitely force yourself to watch movies. But I guarantee you, they will start to turn to mush. Like, that's the problem that I found, at least for me, is I literally stop retaining anything that makes those movies special. And when I'm talking about them, I'm just like going through the motions. They're just mush. I don't have any real any real information or any real opinion. They're just like, it's hard to even explain, but it's literally they all start to kind of run together and they just become this big gray matter of content. So yeah, I love Tubi. Tubi is fantastic for horror fans because they're constantly putting things, and it's a place where little tiny indie horror creators can put their content too and get love. Let's see, what's your opinion on the Serbian film? I've seen it and I actually loved the gore scenes. Um, I don't know, man. I've put a lot of it out of my head, but to be honest, I just felt like it's just kind of a movie that's created for shock value and didn't have any really great anything. It was just okay, and the only reason that it's become this talked about movie that anybody even knows about it is because it's become kind of a challenge thing where, you know, if you're a horror fan, I challenge you to watch. It's kind of like um oh, what's it called? Cannibal Holocaust. It's the same thing where it isn't that it's that great of a movie. It's just because of certain elements about it that shock people, everybody talks about it. And I'm just not a huge fan of that kind of stuff. Like, it isn't a matter of it being like bothering me too much. Like, it didn't really bother me. I've seen a lot of shit, and I've seen a lot of shit in real life, so it didn't really bother me that much. It just doesn't, it didn't have anything really special to me either. So I feel like it would be quickly forgotten if it wasn't for a couple scenes in it. But that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people really enjoy it. I mean, it is well shot, and it does have some, like the Gore Factor you said. There is some quality, there is some talent involved in creating it. So it's not that. Question: have you heard of Junji Ito? His horror comics are amazing. Yes, I've heard people talk about him. I don't know if I've seen some of them, but I wouldn't say I'm like I know I've seen some of them, but I think I've only seen them online as like reference things, like reference photos. I don't think I've ever really sat down and read them. Like I said, I struggle to take on new media because I just get overwhelmed. Question: do you know the author Kothi Koja or Kothi Kaja? No, no, I don't. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't. I'm not a huge reader, unfortunately. Oh, Malaysian Godzilla type. That's cool. Is the only film I am too scared to watch because once you see something, you can't unsee it. Yeah, there's one scene. I mean, there's quite a bit of uncomfortable shit in Serbian film, but there's one scene that you can't unsee, and it's about as fucked up as you can get. Cause like I can handle anything gore wise. It's not gore. There's certain super super fucked up things you could do that bother at least most people, including myself, more than gore. Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed that movie. I love that movie. I love alien horror, man. Alien horror movies, like extraterrestrial and alien sci-fi horrors, are so fun. Which, speaking of which, the video I am working on tonight, the reason I'm at the drive-in is because this is where I get a lot of my editing done. It's like putting something on in the background while I'm editing. It keeps me from feeling that weird lonely-ish thing that we all need. Kind of like, I don't even know how you explain it, but it's like if you're folding laundry and you have something on as background noise. It's like that for me. Everything going on at the drive-ins. It's not being at home. It gets me out of the house. I get a lot of editing done, but I'm finishing up my 10 best sci-fi horror movies, and so that video will come out on Tuesday. At least that's the plan, as long as I stay on schedule, which I should. I'm on schedule so far. Corpse Party. It's an introduction. The 90 minutes of his creation. Eyeball gouging. Corpse Party. Why does that sounds super familiar? But I can't remember if I've seen that or at least seen parts of it. I feel like I've seen some of it. Um, yeah, I want to do some horror gaming. That's the one thing. If I can add something to my arsenal, so to speak, it'll be that. I don't know if I'll start a second channel or if I'll just do that on this channel. But I probably need to get a new Xbox first because the one I have it's seen better days. It's an Xbox One as well, so I should probably get a new Xbox. But I don't know. It's a ways off before I'll have that kind of money. But gaming is something I've thought a lot about adding. Thank you, Horror Geek. Holy shit! When did they catch? When did they catch? Um. Oh, just got a super thanks, super chat, whatever. Money. Hell yeah! Thank you so much, Big Chris, coming through. Have you seen the 1989 film Warlock? Hell yeah, I've seen Warlock. If so, thoughts? I thought it was cheesy, but a good kind of cheese. You said it. It's exactly that. It's very cheesy and campy, but I love it, man. And um, God bless, or I don't know, but God bless, but um, I just spaced on his name, which is embarrassing. He just passed away. The star of that movie just passed away, and it's a real shame. I'm totally apologizing for spacing on his name when I was trying to uh, say bless him, the universe bless his soul. I hope he's in a better place, rest in peace. But I'm blanking on his name now, so I apologize to anybody who's fans of his. But he was a great actor, and that is a fantastic movie. Very, very fun. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I just feel like Serbian films got issues. It has issues. Like it, I don't know. It just has issues. I watched it a long, long time ago. I don't regret watching it per se because I I had to watch it at some point because on it's kind of one of those things as a horror fan. I didn't want people forever asking me if I had watched it. I just wanted to get it watched and out of the way. Holy shit! Was killed by a serial killer? Damn. We had one who disposed of bodies at the beach here on Long Island, and they charged him. Jeez, dude. I really love your review channel and appreciate you doing the work to weed out some of the better ones. Or better horror. You're very welcome, Dornell. We're shocked, happy they got him. So They just caught a serial killer? Okay, now I will argue Human Centipede because yeah, it's a little shocking, I guess. Like, I don't think it's anywhere near as my little. I thought I had figured out how to get my little tripod holder thing to work, but it's still not the greatest. I just need to buy a new one. Like, I just feel like I haven't figured out how it works. Like, I don't. It's weird. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. I think I do know how it works. Anyway, but I will argue Human Centipede is very different because yes, it is bothersome. Yes, it has some shocking scenes, but it also has a purpose and a story, and there's a reasoning behind what it's doing. And it is gross, but I think it's fun in a weird way. There's like some interesting characters in it. Like, it's a fucked up movie, but like the sequels, I agree as far as the sequels are fucking trash. But that first Human Centipede, I actually think is a good movie. Trying to skim through these, trying to see what you guys are all talking about, serial killers and stuff. It's hard because I can't read them all. I don't read very fast, as you can tell anyway. Have you ever seen Attack the Block? No, I just put that on my. I forget where I have it in my queue. And I plan on watching it like within the next couple weeks for one of my next lists. I forget where it is. I think it might be on Shudder, but I plan to watch it because I've heard really good things about it forever, but I just haven't watched it yet. Thank you. They're little old lady glasses from the thrift store, I believe. I find all kinds of crazy, weird stuff at thrift stores. That's the fun of it for me. Well, yeah, I would agree with that too. I mean, there's a lot of bad alien movies for sure, but some of my favorites though are like alien horror movies. District 9, that's not horror enough, or I would put it on a list, but like I don't really think it has any horror at all. But sci-fi wise, man, that's one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. That movie's so good. It's incredible because it has like a tiny budget and what he's able to do with that budget is incredible. What are you seeing at the drive-ins? I'm gonna see the new Mission Impossible again. I saw it the other day and it was pretty good, but I've seen everything here at the drive-ins at least once, and it's the only movie I haven't seen more than once. So I figured I would see it again. It's just the drive-ins, like it's. I love that we have a drive-ins where I live. I'm super appreciative of that, but they really suck at putting. Like the only movies they ever put are like the big blockbuster ones, and so there's only ever like a couple movies, like 3 or 4 movies to choose from. Like yeah, like 3 or sometimes 4 movies to choose from, and so if you go like I do, like once or twice, like at least once every week, but usually 2 or 3 times every week, I quickly see everything they have. And like I've already seen Insidious: The Red Door 3 times, so I don't really want to watch it again, especially because I didn't love it. I've seen Indiana Jones a couple times, and what else? I think Transformers, and I've seen that one a couple times too. So, and none of them are movies I love. Like if there's a movie I love, like with Resident Evil Rise, I saw that 6 times, I believe. Question: what about best alien movies part two? I'm so curious to see which movies you will pick. Of course, maybe I definitely do want to do a part two to that, just like a lot of other ones, but it has to do with the amount of views, and unfortunately, that one just didn't do very good. So I don't know when I'll do a sequel of it again because I put as much work, if not more work, into those than I do like the Netflix ones or the Tubi ones or the Prime ones, like any of those streaming service ones, and yet they get 3-4 times the amount of views, which at the end of the day helps grow the channel and helps put money in my pocket so I can afford to eat and keep doing this. So it's hard to, like, that's why I don't do those kind of lists very often, but I'm trying to do at least one a month. And so that's why this coming, because that basically any week, or for me to release one of those means I have to release 2 videos that week. So it's like an extra 30 to 40 hours of work to put an extra one of those videos out. Like at least that much. And that's not counting the hours of watching movies and writing notes and like it takes me a long time. There's a lot that goes into each one of these list videos. So, but I'm gonna try to do it. So basically, one week a month, at least one week a month, we'll have 2 videos. More if I can do it, but it just all depends. But I definitely want to do a part two at some point. Oh man, I'm way behind. All right, let's see. I played to game version. It was Make sure if you have any questions, you put question at the beginning of your comment, please. Julian Sands, thank you so much. Yeah, Julian Sands, we just lost unfortunately, so it's very sad. He passed away last month, but that's who I was trying to say rest in peace to, and I blinked on his name all of a sudden, which sucks. Yeah, the second Human Centipede was just fucked up noise. Like the second and third, they literally just became shock kind of movies that lost the script. Like yeah, I'm not a fan of the other ones, but that first movie I argue is still a really good movie. Yeah, Julian Sands was. Yeah, he was hiking. He was hiking not too far from where I live, up in the Sierra Mountains. Was it the Southern California mountains? I thought it was uh, like Sierra Nevadas towards where I live. Let's see. Question: have you seen The Devil's Candy? I thought it was fantastic. I think so. Or hold on, am I getting? Is The Devil's Candy the one where the girl tricks the guy? He thinks she's underage, and then she like brutalizes him. Is that The Devil's Candy, or am I getting mixed up with movies? Question: did you see Necromantic, and what are your thoughts? No, I haven't seen that. Necromantic. Definitely have not seen that movie, so I'm curious what that's all about. Question about serial killers. Do you like psycho killer movies? Inks is a must see in my opinion. Some of them, yeah. You know, like it's just like any other movie. I like all kinds of movies. There isn't, especially when it comes to horror genre of movies. Like there isn't any one kind I don't like. It's just a question of if it's good or not. You know, if it's well made. I think there's a good story to be told in any subgenre. You know, and that's not just horror. I mean, you can say that about literally any kind of entertainment form there is. Like, you know, whenever I hear people say all the good original stories have been told, I'm like, you're full of shit. Like, because first of all, there's only a couple different kinds of stories, period, that can be told. Every story can be rooted back to, I think it's four different kinds. Is it four? I don't remember, but there's only a couple different kinds of stories, and everything stems from that anyway. And so it really comes down to uh, you have unique ideas, and humans will forever come up with unique ideas. If you don't, it's because you're not putting enough time, money, or energy into it. Question: have you seen? Hell yeah, I've seen Tusk. I love Tusk. For one, I'm a huge fan of Justin Long. He's one of my favorite actors. And then for two, that movie's just wild. Kevin Smith might like it's my favorite thing Kevin Smith has done. I've tried to find that, but no luck. Heard about that movie about 20 years ago. Yeah, I feel like I've seen that name, but I can't place the movie myself. Yeah, I was too. I didn't hate Chappie like a lot of people hated Chappie. I didn't hate Chappie, but it was definitely not anywhere like in the same stratosphere as District 9. Like District 9 is straight up like you said a masterpiece. Session 9 is amazing. But yeah, it has nothing to do with District 9. But Session 9 is one of the best like hidden gem horror movies there is. Like it's wild to me that more people don't know about that movie. That movie's incredible. I wish more guys would wear nail polish. It's fun and shows your personality. Uh yeah, I'm definitely for it. I think even if a guy isn't comfortable with painting their nails, they should. I really think more guys need to go to a salon and get their nails done because it's good for the health. It's good to upkeep your body and your appearance. It's good for your confidence. Um, Too many guys' hands are just all fucked up and they just look like train wrecks and their feet too. But I mean, it feels amazing. You feel like royalty when you're sitting there getting your hands and feet taken care of, and I'm telling you, it's just great for the mind, body, and soul. But I understand that painting them isn't for every guy, and I don't think every guy has to. And definitely painting your nails colors is not for every guy. I painted mine black for many years, and then a couple years ago I decided fuck it. I'm paying to get my nails worked on anyway. I might as well you know, get a little creative with it. And so I started trying different colors. But I get so much hate. Like you guys have no idea how many times I've been called the hard F word, and it's amazing to me that uh, people consider you uh, don't consider you a man or straight if you have your nails painted. Like it's ridiculous. Oh, it's amazing what people think qualifies you to be a man. Because to me, it's more about being honest and hardworking and taking care of the people you love and protecting the people you love and all those things that make you a man. Being honest and whatnot. That's what makes you a man. Not if you have earrings or if you have your nails painted. But whatever. What do I know, right? Does the drive-in check trunks to make sure? Um, They don't check anything with me because I come here so much, but they generally just take a peek in your car with a flashlight when it's at night and just kind of look around to make sure there's nobody hiding. But they don't. I haven't seen them ever check a trunk. I know that's how I snuck in as a teenager, within the trunks of cars, because I was always the poor one of the friend group. I really want to watch Wrath of Becky. I'm just waiting for the Wrath of Becky to be on like one of the streaming services, because like I want to recommend it to everybody, but not to have to go spend a bunch of money to rent it. And so I'm just waiting for it to be on the Tubi or HBO or something. Like I just can't. I'm blown away that movie didn't get a theatrical release for one. It just bothers me. Neither did the first one, and it's just a crime. Make sure if you have a question, you put question in the beginning of your comment, because I'm starting to really fall behind, and it's hard for me to scan through these. Oh yeah, hard candy is the one I'm thinking of, and it is very very good. Um, I haven't seen the Devil's Candy because I keep getting it mixed up with hard candy. I just saw it the other day and added it in my queue. I think it was on Tubi or one of the streaming platforms. And I'm like, there it is. That's the movie I've heard over the years, and I keep getting mixed up. So I'm definitely going to watch that movie soon. Question: did you ever see the podcast where Justin Long talked about the time he was kidnapped for real? Wasn't it? Okay, maybe I misremember, because I feel like he had a story when he was a kid or something. But I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember listening to the podcast. Speaking of Justin Long, did you see Barbarian? Yeah, Barbarian was in my top horror movies of last year list, as well as I did a review of it on the channel. Like, it's a fantastic movie. I love it. I understand it's not for everyone because it takes some really weird twists and turns, but that's what I loved about it. Those of us that love it and get it really love it. And but I understand that it's not for everyone. 100% agree. Yeah, right now my toenails actually match my fingers. I only get my toes done like once a month, and so a lot of times they don't match up. But for now, they actually do match. And I can't get my left one done because it's in this stupid cast thing. So I'm waiting uh, until I get this cast removed so I can finally get my toes done again. Yeah, it just blows me away. Like, I understand if someone's like, yeah, dude, that's not my thing to do my nails or whatever, like, or even I don't think it looks good. That would be one thing. But I mean, calling me derogatory, like horrible, horrible shit. I mean, like, I've had literally people say that I'm a pedophile. Like, luckily YouTube blocks this shit. But like, literally, I've had comments where people trying to say, like, so that you guys would see it, like, don't believe anything this guy says. He's actually really a pedophile. Like crazy shit like that. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I've had huge background checks done on me. I used to teach school. I used to teach arts, like art classes to little kids. Like, I've had huge background checks on me. I 100%, like, you know, like, I have nothing bad in my record. I have no record at all. The only ticket even thing I ever got was I got in trouble for driving without insurance. That was it. That's the only thing I've ever done. All right, James. Thanks for hanging out, man. Yeah, I think you'll have fun with The Blackening. Just don't think of it as a horror movie. Go into it watching it as a comedy, and I think you'll have fun. See, I know you like 80s horror. Have you ever seen Miracle Mile or The Quiet Earth? Isn't The Quiet Earth from the 70s? I feel like I've seen The Quiet Earth. I don't think I've seen Miracle Mile, though. Those both sound super familiar. I miss going to the drive-ins. Have you seen uh, Chillerama? Isn't that? Yes, but I don't. Hold on. Isn't that really cheesy ass sci-fi horror? It's like ultra gory, like fun. I think that's Chillerama, right? I've seen that, and it's very fun. That sucks, bud. But haters gonna hate. Yeah, but that's the thing. Hating is fine. Like, I don't care. Fucking hate on me all day. But there's just a difference between hating and then just the vile, crazy stuff people come up with. Like, I don't care who you are. If someone calls you a child molester, it's gonna bother you. At least it should, dude. If it doesn't, then. But whatever. Anybody that knows me knows how laughable that is. So. But I'm getting thicker skin. I'm getting to where. Yeah, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies was super fun. I did like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter better, though. Although I just rewatched Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and I had a great time with it the other day. But I haven't watched Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies in a long time. So I probably need to rewatch that one. I probably would have probably enjoy it more now. I see things differently now. I enjoy movies that are kind of silly and don't have a real purpose. I enjoy them more now than I used to. Like, I've learned how to kind of watch things with a different lens. Like, not take everything super serious. Find things I enjoy about movies that are, any old people have remember Children's Theater on TV? I don't remember that. I don't remember that. See, question from Artemis. You never ask questions, Artemis. Did you see the little girl who lives down the lane, Jodie Foster? I feel like I've seen that. I'm pretty sure I've seen that, but I can't remember it. That's a movie from the 70s, I believe, right? When she's I'm just a little girl. Isn't that the one where she witnesses a murder or something like that? Is what thing on? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen the Artemis, but I can't really remember it. Like, unfortunately, if it's something I haven't seen within the last 10 years, I don't really remember much of it. And even as it is, a lot of the movies on the list I have to rewatch. Or what I usually do is kind of like a speed watch. If it's one I know I want to recommend, I'll either watch the trailer to see if that refreshes my memory, and if that doesn't, then I'll try to fast forward through it, watch different scenes until I feel like I remember enough of it. If I don't have time, if I have time, I just completely rewatch it. You know, like I just did with Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. I just completely re-watched it because I had the time. It also has to do with what you're feeling. Like if you're feeling like rewatching it or not. You know, it's because sometimes you're just not feeling like watching a certain movie. Even if I'm going to recommend it, doesn't mean I'm always, you know, in the mindset of wanting to rewatch it. No, I'm at the drive-ins. I'm about to watch the new Mission Impossible movie again at the drive-ins. I already saw it the other day, so it's mostly just to have it on as background while I do editing. I've never seen that. Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies. Is that actually a sequel to Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, or is it like a spoof? Like, you know, like a spin-off kind of thing? But yeah, my trip. I'm still raising money for the trip, so if anybody is feeling like they want to donate some money, if you donate to PayPal or Venmo, which is both the links right here, I get that directly. Or if you want to donate here on the channel, either way, it all helps the channel out a ton. But the goal is next weekend. So probably next Sunday. So a week, like, was that like 10 days from now? I plan to go on the trip. I don't have a set date yet because I'm waiting to get my paycheck to be able to finalize all the plans. But for those that may not know, I'm going to go and visit the Halloween 3 season of The Witch locations, filming locations, and shoot that week's like weekly video out there, which that should be a Shudder video, I believe. Like if I stay on track, I should be working on like shooting a Shudder video on there. But either way, the factory, the Silver Shamrock factory from Halloween 3 season of The Witch is located there, and but a bunch of the other locations are there too. And then if I raise enough money and I'm able to afford it, there's also the filming locations from Salem's Lot. So I might jump in and check some of those out too. But I'm going to do some lives from those locations, as well as shoot those those weekly videos there and show you guys as much as I can. You know, try to talk to some locals, you know, try to match up locations as best I can. But any money you guys donate helps a ton. A bunch of you guys have been super generous and kind and helped me out a ton to make this actually happen. Honeydew's fantastic, David. I've put it on a couple lists before, and I've yet had anybody watch it who didn't enjoy it. Like, it's crazy how unknown that movie is for as good as it is. Have you seen it? The Asylum? Yeah, Asylum movies are... They're really kind of cash grabs, but they can be fun with friends to be hanging out and like just kind of make fun of. But they're not what I would call like usually very good. Like they're more stupid than anything. But they're kind of cash grabs. They'll straight up take names and stuff and twist them to where they can kind of get in on the algorithm with the name of their movie. Wow, I didn't know anything about this. That's fascinating. See, that's the kind of documentaries I like to watch. Stuff like that where people make documentaries about... Like, Shudder has a fantastic series. There's 2 seasons I think they're making a third season, but it's Cursed Films, and it's the same kind of thing as that, where they talk about a movie where that had like all kinds of crazy behind the scenes stuff that was just like straight up cursed, you know. But I love stuff like that. I've never seen that. I've seen parts of it, but I've never watched that full movie. Like I've watched parts of it and it was creepy. I don't even remember why I've never watched the full thing, but they're remaking what? Oh, Magic. Really? No, surprisingly, a lot of people have started to give love to Halloween 3. For the longest time, it was like, on an island, nobody liked that movie, but more and more people you're seeing are starting to show love to it, which is, it's about damn time, because if you get the idea that Michael Myers isn't in it out of your head and just watch it for what it is and don't think about it as a Halloween movie, it's great. And that's why I always like to call it Halloween. Instead of calling it Halloween, I like to just call it Season of the Witch, because that's really what it is. It isn't Halloween. Question, this is the technical one. Was just wondering what video editing software you use. I pretty much exclusively edit my videos with my phone because I have really bad problems with my hands and I can't be on a computer very often, like really advanced carpal tunnel, where sometimes they're just literally like claws. And so I started doing a lot of my editing on my phone. I do some stuff like the audio is all through my laptop, and then I'll do, a little bit in Premiere Pro here and there, just to, if there's certain things you can't do on a phone, but very rarely do I have to. Most everything I want to do, I can do with my phone. Um, and so I use a app called Video Shop on Apple, and my iPhone, and it's actually a really great software for editing with your phone. You'd be shocked. Like I said, you have to, to do it right, you got to send it from your phone. But I can just straight AirDrop it to my MacBook and then finish it however I need to. And then if I want, I can send it back to my phone, just AirDrop it back to my phone, or just upload it from the laptop. Usually I'll send it back to my phone because I'll do some final touches like add text, this and that on my phone. But yeah, people are always surprised how much I'm able to do with my phone. But like, man, our phones are amazing. They're just little computers. Like, people just don't realize like you don't need a computer to do a lot of shit. It started because I didn't have a computer when I started this channel, so all I had was my phone. But then I eventually got Honeydew. I believe it's usually streaming everywhere. Like, it's usually on Tubi, Shudder, uh, Amazon Prime. So I would just search it, because depending on where you live, but you should be able to find it pretty easy. It's usually streaming everywhere. I'm so with you. That scene where the little boy's at the window is just so damn creepy. I love it. See, what is your opinion on ABCs of Death? Um, the first ABCs of Death I thought was great. There wasn't much memorable about ABCs of Death 2, but I really, really liked the first one. Um, just in general, I love movies like that. Like like most anthology movies, you're gonna have hit and miss. So you're gonna have some parts that are badass, like the VHS ones, and then you'll have other ones that are not great. But I eat that shit up. I still enjoy them, and especially holiday ones. Like, I love them, even if they're bad. I still watch them and still enjoy them. Anything to do with Halloween, any movie that in one shape or another talks about Halloween or has Halloween stuff in it, I'm gonna enjoy it, because I just love Halloween that much. Like, if you have Halloween decorations and stuff, I'm so about it. What shirt are you wearing tonight? I just got a plain black T-shirt on tonight. It was super hot today. It got to like 106 or something like that, 107, and then tomorrow's gonna be like 110. So it's super hot. So I didn't want to like wear anything worth a damn and then just destroy it with sweat. So, um, luckily though, I have good AC in the car, and then by the time I got out here, it's already started cooling off some. So I haven't had to worry too much about that. But yeah, I just have a plain old black T-shirt on, which is a rarity for me. I generally don't wear just a plain black T-shirt. I truly believe if Halloween 3 would have been released, yep, I 100% agree. It would be a cult classic. It even is. Think about it. Even having to deal with all of that, and yet it still become a cult classic. Like if it had been just called Halloween Season of the Witch from the or just called Season of the Witch from the beginning, I think it would be like a pretty big classic from the 80s. But even still, it's it's like getting more and more popular all the time. You're starting to see toys and shit. Like, I mean, when Spirit Halloween carries a bunch of stuff from a movie, like they are with Killer Clowns, like that movie is arrived. So, but I love it. I love it. It makes me so happy. Yeah, I hate the heat. It's one of the big reasons why I want to move. I don't want to live here uh, that long, like much longer. Like once the channel can get a little bit more, because I need to be able to. Like right now, like it's no secret. My sister is basically keeping me afloat. Like I live with her. I rent a room from her, and if it wasn't for my sister, um, I would be homeless. So, but once I'm able to afford. God, this thing keeps loosening up. Ugh. But once I'm able to afford my own um, place and whatnot, and be able to afford to travel and stuff. First, I'm going to start traveling and meeting you guys and seeing different places. But then the plan is to, oh, there we go. I'm holding it right and can actually look straight now. Okay, I get what I got to do. One of these days, I'll be a professional YouTuber. But anyway, then once I've traveled a bit and I've kind of started to find my people and my place and where I feel comfortable, then I'm just gonna move to that place and just start living there. So, because that's the goal. The cool thing about the channel is I can live anywhere I want. I don't have to have a specific location. Like I can make videos in any city there is, any place in the world. So that's the goal. Because I don't want to live here that much longer. It's not that I don't like California or any of that, but just the heat is just brutal on me. Like it really can't. Like with my health and stuff, like I just can't do this heat. I'm in a state that has all four seasons. Yeah, and that's what I would like. I would like to live in a place that I can, really appreciate all four seasons, but just doesn't get quite as hot as this. Like I lived growing up in San Diego, in Southern California, and it doesn't really get all four seasons. That's one thing I do love about it up here is you do get fall somewhat. You don't really get winter. It doesn't snow or anything like that. So it's still, yeah. Like I'd like somewhere that maybe doesn't get a lot of snow, but a little bit of snow would be fun. But just it doesn't get to 110, in the summer. Yeah, exactly. Same here. And I mean, I've lived here most of my life. Like I remember, like every year there's days where it gets to like 110, 115. Like I lived in Phoenix for a while, and that's worse. But we're not too far behind Phoenix. Granted we don't get to like 120, but it's not crazy far not crazy far behind. Where do you live, Danny? Danny Asheville. Like the weather feels really nice now. It's crazy how right now our temperatures are fluctuating so much, like from day to night. It's usually not this extreme. Like, we're going from like 106, 107 to like 75, 80 degrees. Like, it's crazy. Like, just in a matter of like 3 hours. Oh, yeah. I love San Jose. San Jose is kind of more like San Diego weather, though. Like, you don't really ever get a winter. You don't really ever get like a spring or fall. It's like, it only fluctuates a little bit year round. But I still absolutely love it down there. I've been down there, a number of times. It's just the most beautiful weather. Like when people think of California, it's, that's the kind of weather that people think of. How many people are at the drive-in tonight? There's not a lot so far, but a lot of people don't start showing up now until it's dark because it's so hot. I think a lot of people just kind of show up a little bit later. But like basically as soon as it gets dark, you'll see a huge line of cars showing up. Like it'll be like Friday nights here are crazy. Like they're so packed. And so like I always get here super early. Usually I do a lot of editing and that's why I show up so early, but I wanted to show up early so I could do this with you guys. But it's also so I can get a parking near the front, otherwise you'll be parked way in the back. Which it doesn't really matter that much to me because I'm only going to be kind of watching the movie, so. 115 degrees, damn, that's brutal. Holy shit, I didn't know Virginia got that hot. $123. Yeah, fuck all that noise. Yeah, anything over 100 sucks, but anything over 110 is just death. Yeah, like I'm good with up to 90. Like for me, 90 is kind of my max. I'm not comfortable with anything hotter than 90 degrees. So I've thought a lot about moving to Washington, like Seattle area, or Oregon, like Portland, whatever. I've thought a lot about moving to those areas, but they're the main places I've ever really traveled, other than like Arizona. So I've visited briefly a lot of other states, but not like to the point where I really know if I would like to live there or not. Yeah, 123 is insane because I mean the hottest recorded temperature is 135 in Death Valley in like 2020, I think it was, that they recorded that. I totally agree, Boogeyman. Yeah, I don't want to move to somewhere that's got a ton of snow either. Like super super cold weather just hurts my nerves and stuff super bad as well. So like wherever I go, I want to be like in an ideal world, I'd probably have enough money to have basically two different residences, stay for a certain period of time in one location and then be able to travel and stay in this other part for the rest of the year or something like that. But I also just really want to travel and like I love travel. Uh, sorta. He was in Vanilla Sky, which was in the movie today, or the video today that I put out, and that's a more of a thriller than it is horror. But he was also in The Mummy, the most recent Mummy remake, which was not a good movie. I don't like it, but he was in it, and it is horror. And then he was also in Interview with the Vampire, which I definitely consider to be horror. So, yeah, he's been in horror, but he hasn't been in like hardcore horror movies. Like all those are like fringe. I mean, Interview with the Vampire is the most horror he's been in. I think most people would think of that as a horror movie. Is there anything else? I can't think of any other ones that he's been in that were horror. But I'm just not a big fan of his either. Like I'm just not. I just don't. He's just kind of weird. Like I feel like he's super super phony, and I have a hard time with people that are super phony. Like I would much rather you be someone like be true who you are, and I just don't like who you are, but I'd still be more comfortable around someone I don't like that's honest than someone that's phony and acts like they're super super nice all the time. Like it's just icky. Yeah, Artemis spelled my name how it's legally spelled. Stupid, this new website, Threads, which I just signed up for. So if anybody, I'm doing kind of a daily, like, like my daily, like if you want to experience kind of my daily activities and stuff, Threads is where I'm going to post a lot of that. Just kind of like the foods I like to eat. Nothing really horror related per se. I mean, a little bit, like I shared my video today, but for the most part, it's just me living my life. So definitely follow me over on Threads. It's Ghost Pirate Entertainment. It's just like the Instagram page, but they spelled my name like it legally is spelled, which pisses me off. There's a reason I spell it Kainan. I don't like the legal spelling of it, but those fuckers, in order to get verified, like I like being verified, like that's cool, but in order to get verified, you have to use your legal spelling that's on your driver's license. So I was like, all right, fuck it. So like the only way to change it is for me to legally change my name, which is just a pain in the ass. Like the only reason I've never changed my legal spelling is just it's still pronounced exactly the same, but the only reason I haven't changed my legal spelling is it's just a pain in the ass. I don't want to deal with all the legal bullshit. Yeah, my government name, exactly. Like nobody knows me by that. Like that's what's so weird about it. This is like the first time since MySpace days that people knew that I had not people. I've never like hidden the spelling of my name, but that I had a platform where my legal spelling was posted. Oh, watch Honeydew. They're actually both great movies. So if you're wanting more of a horror movie, watch Honeydew. It has a little bit of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe to it, just a very weird, gross, dirty vibe to it. Very cool little movie. Very small though. Keep in mind, very small indie movie. Whereas Vanilla Sky is a big budget, big movie, but it's a psychological thriller. It's really twisted, and it has you kind of guessing the whole time, and then it'll kind of get you at the end, and you're like, oh shit, okay. Like you kind of have suspicions, but you're never quite sure until the end what all is going on. So I would check out both movies, but I would probably if you're wanting something horror, I would start with Honeydew. What's different for dudes? What did I miss, Cesarus? Uh, it's not any different really to change your names as far as the legal part, like going into the government and right, you just literally fill out a contract and bam, your name's changed. It's the pain in the ass is all your banking and everything. Like for me, all my medical stuff, and there's just so many different things, including the YouTube channel that I would have to change my name on. And so whenever you do that, you're always risking it a little bit too, that for a minute you might have interruption of services or this, that, and the other. Like, you know, so it's one of those things I've thought about doing, but it's never really been an issue. It just doesn't matter. Like, I mean, I even sign things. Like, literally, I sign everything with a K. Like, I've been doing that since I was like 16. Like, in every way, my life, I'm normally always Kaina. It's just on my driver's license. Yeah, and that's a lot of the reason why I don't like the name, is because it's a biblical name, and I'm not a biblical person. It's not that I have any hatred for people that want to be Christian or read the Bible or believe that. Like, that's fine. You do you. But like, for me, I'm not a religious person at all, and I don't, I'm not a Bible guy at all. But beyond that, it was the name that my mom gave me, and my mom was extremely abusive and not someone that I want to have any connection to. But I've always liked the sound of my name, and I still like my name. I just like the spelling of it better, being Kainan. So that's what I put on everything. Like, even my last job, they only knew me by Kainan. Like, I was a manager, and I signed everything with a K. I did everything with the K. Like, it's funny. Oh, well, yeah, you can't read my signature at all. like, yeah, you can't read my signature. It's not about that. I'm just saying I actually put the K at the beginning versus I don't use a C. Those are big differences in letters. A rose by any other, it's only worth participation in it. I don't get it. I don't get it, Jack Dobbs. Did you enjoy Knock at the Cabin? Yeah, I did. I liked it, but it wasn't like it didn't blow me away. Like, to me, The Visit uh, was M. Night's comeback, and then since then, he's done a few that weren't great and a few that were good. But I feel like the last truly great movie he did was The Visit. Because Split was, I'm trying to remember, was Split after The Visit or before The Visit? Because Split and The Visit were amazing movies, but since those, Old, I thought was trash, and then Knock at the Cabin was okay. Uh, the thing with Knock at the Cabin is it could have been so much better. Like, I did like it, and I gave it a good review. But then after, as I sat there and thought about it more and more over weeks or whatever, I was just like, it could have been great. Like, the ending wasn't savage enough. It didn't show you enough carnage. It really needed to go a little more brutal. And to be honest, if it followed the book, I'm not going to tell you what the ending of the book is, but anybody that's read the book will know what I'm talking about. The ending of the book is absolutely savage, and it would have been a way better movie, but it wouldn't have been as friendly. And I think that's why they chose to change the name or change the ending of it, because they wanted it to be more mainstream friendly to make some money, because Old lost a fortune. And so M. Night, all of M. Night's movies, he pretty much pays for them completely himself. And so, like, he can't keep taking huge losses. So that's just my theory. I mean, it's not like, I don't know for sure, but that's my theory. So, Dave Bautista was incredible in it, and that's why I did like the movie. Like I said, I gave it a good review. I really enjoyed it, but it could have been amazing, and it wasn't. It was just good. It was just okay. It was okay. It did have some great things about it, though. Like, I think Dave Bautista was absolutely incredible in it, and I thought the whole cast did an amazing job in it. It just didn't get that landing.
See, I haven't read the book, so I don't know what Dave Bautista was supposed to be. So I loved what he did. I thought his performance was fantastic, but I also don't know, the writings. It's like anything. The book is always better than the movie. Like that's why, I don't think you should ever read the book first. Most people read the book first, but then the movie's never going to be good. If you watch the movie first and then read the book, yeah, I think you'll have a better time. Like I said, John, I mean, seriously, when is the book not better than the movie? Like, it's almost never. Like, I'm sure there are some situations. Like from what I've heard, Black Phone, the movie is actually better than the book, but the book was just a short little uh, short story kind of thing. So that's mostly why people I've heard say that it was, the movie's better because it fleshes the story out more. But for the most part, you're just not. You can't put all the detail and everything into a movie that you can in a book. Well, I don't really think that the way he looks matters. It's more of the character. Yeah, exactly. Like exactly what I was saying. Like, dude, just books for one, or for another thing, books have a lot longer to be written. Like when you're writing a book, you have so much time usually, and you have multiple people working on the editing and whittling it down, and you do multiple rewrites and all this. Unfortunately, with so many movies, they take a book, right, that's had all this time to be perfected, but then they take it and it's like, especially big budget movies, dude, the amount of time that people are given to do their jobs on movies is just stupid. Like you get a couple weeks sometimes to write scripts, and then a few more weeks to do like, you know, some rewrites. Like it's crazy how fast movies have to get put together once they're greenlit. It's just insane. So, you know, exactly, exactly, Jess. That's exactly was why I'm saying the same thing. Like, watch a movie first, then read the book. Because the book is going to only flush out the movie even more and give you even more things that you didn't get from the movie. And in a lot of cases, it's going to be way better. But if you don't, like for me, I watched the movie Phantom, numerous times. And then I finally read the book. And the book is, way better than the movie. But I still absolutely love the movie for what it is. But then the book just takes that and takes it even further, makes it even better, tells you an even more fleshed out story with better written characters. Thank you, John. What I hate is when they try to make a movie from a book for the money and the royalty bleep it up. Oh, yeah. But see, that's what I'm talking about. It is what happens a lot of times is they rush it too much, and because of money, as soon as money gets involved, as soon as they greenlight it, then you have all these stupid studio execs that get in the way that have no fucking talent, and they just completely screw them up, and it happens all the time, and it's maddening. Have you ever gone paranormal exploring or visited a well-known haunt? No, I want to. Like that's another thing on my bucket list of things I want to do. I've been to lots of haunted locations, but never on like an official haunted hunt. And like, but I've experienced plenty of things that I would consider paranormal. I can't explain. I don't believe a lot of what like the ghost hunter shows talk about. I don't buy into most of their shit. I think most of it's just hype. Uh, like Ghost Adventures especially. Like I feel like Ghost Hunters, the OG, they were the closest to being legit. But then I feel like even they got a little skewed as seasons went by. But even still, they're a lot more legit. Like you watch multiple episodes and don't see any paranormal really at all. and and that's when it's real. Because if you've ever been to 100 places, like I've been to the Winchester Mystery House, dude, you don't experience shit. Like you go there, and there's so many people there, and it's daytime, whatever. You're not gonna experience anything. Anybody tells you they experience a bunch of stuff is just pulling your leg, like, you know, or it's in your head. If you think you've experienced something, you're putting it in your head because there's no way any paranormal activity is gonna happen in broad daylight with lots and lots of people yelling and talking, kids running around, like all this stuff. I just don't buy that. You know, I just don't. But if you're there at night, like I went on the midnight tour there, and you know, just like I went to a midnight thing at Alcatraz, and both those I definitely felt a lot. But once again, you're on a tour. There's a lot of people, and I did feel like I experienced a little more and whatnot. But I've never gotten to go on like official one. Like I would like to go. Hey, welcome aboard, Shadow. I would love to go. Welcome to the crew. I would love to go on like, you know, something like that where you have actual equipment and it's people being quiet and you're there really to try to, you know, see the paranormal that's there. Yeah, exactly. It's just like imagine if more movies got to be the director's cut. Like if we got to always see the director's vision, we would always have much better movies. Not all of them, of course. There's a lot of cases where director's ego gets in the way and the movie's too damn long and it needed to be cut down and all that. But I'm just saying, if you always got the director's cut, a lot of times you're going to get the better movie. Yeah, see, I don't believe the supernatural can hurt us, period. And I think it's just my opinion. But I think a lot of what we have heard and whatnot is for different, like possession. I don't think it's actually a demon taking over someone's body. But that's just my opinion. I think it's um, things to do with mental, you know, like mental health problems. You can convince someone of something, and your body and mind will produce some crazy shit. We know that for a fact. You know, there's so many situations where someone was so convinced of something they manifest it, they make it happen. But that doesn't mean it was like a demon. But you know, that's my opinion. I don't think like quote unquote supernatural spirits or whatever can hurt us because I don't necessarily know if I think that they're actually the dead. Like maybe they are, but I don't I can't exactly put my finger on exactly what I think it is. I think it has maybe a little more to do with multiple versions of reality and multiple like dimensions and things like that. I just think that it's not something that we can get our head around, but I don't think it can hurt us. I think it can freak you out, and if you convince yourself of some shit, you can hurt yourself, but I don't think that it can hurt us any more than we can hurt it. But that's my opinion. You know, I've studied a lot of this shit. Like I'm not, it's just not out of nowhere that I'm coming up with these opinions. Like I've studied this all my life in one way or another. So went to a supposedly abandoned haunted asylum. To be honest, we actually broke in my crazy youth. Yeah, I've been there. It was a creepy as hell place, but nothing actually happened. Exactly. I've been in so many situations where I've seen things I can't explain, but I can also chalk it up to being young and convincing myself of shit, just being creeped out. Just like watching a movie, right? A movie can't hurt you, but you can sure as hell get creeped the fuck out by it and be scared by it, right? Yep, Shadow, you got the logo now, son. Hell yeah. I just have always felt that the answers to everything lie somewhere between spirituality and science. If you take those two ends of the spectrum, somewhere in the middle is where the actual truth is. Yeah, and I respect yours too. I'm not saying I'm right. Like this is just my opinion. It's like I don't believe there's any way to 100% know. Like these are things that I don't think we're even meant to know. So, See, and that's the problem, Susurrus, is it's like I have never experienced anything 100% to to make me think that it is this one thing. And I think humans, we're good at making up stories. We're good at, and I don't know. It's just like a lot of beliefs, right? People, like, these are old ass stories, and so people take it as like it's a fact because it's been passed down for so many generations. But it's like, just because something has been told for thousands of years doesn't make it factual. I mean, I'm not saying it's not, because I don't know for a fact, but I do know that science can be proven. And so, like, if I have these two things, one of them can be proven for a fact, the other one can't. So I gotta give the one that can be proven for a fact a little more weight. But I also don't go 100% with science either, because science is always changing. So that's why I always think it's somewhere in the middle. Exactly. Porn can't give you herpes. But it can scare you. I've seen some gnarly stuff. Maybe because I think I'm really forgiving in regards to movies because I grew up in the 80s. I like when you suggest movies that are just fun and not too serious. Yeah, like that's a big thing for me. And like I get a lot of shit for that. Like people that say I like everything or I like a lot of trash movies, but that's my like there's different kinds of movies and there's different some of us are into enjoying them for different reasons cuz like I love watching an A24 movie that sticks with me and is slow burn and I'll think about it for days after, right? But I just as much enjoy watching a trashy, 80s horror movie or 70s horror movie that doesn't make a lot of sense. It's really cheesy and it's what I call popcorn horror. It's just to have fun with, not take too serious and just enjoy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying both different spectrums for different reasons. I don't understand why so many people don't understand that you can enjoy two different things. Like it's like someone saying you can only enjoy beer. You can't enjoy beer and wine. Why? You don't have to just drink wine or just drink beer. You can, depending on your mood or the occasion, you can drink one or the other or both. And people do. It's just like hard alcohol, like sometimes you're feeling hard alcohol, not beer. Sometimes you're just feeling a beer. Sometimes you want a nice glass of wine. And it's for different situations, different moods. And that's how I look at horror movies. And there is great movies of each type, of each of those categories. Yeah, exactly, Shadow. It's nobody knows. Like I don't care. Someone can swear to you they have the answers to that, but I don't think it's possible to have the answers. Like I just don't. I don't think our brains can fully comprehend whatever it is. I think we get fragments of it, and it's just like with religion and whatever. We get fragments of truth, but I don't think anyone knows 100%. Like nobody knows 100% what happens when we die. Nobody knows 100% if there is an entity that created everything, or if there's not. Like nobody knows 100% of any of these things. And I think if anybody thinks they do, they're just being arrogant and foolish, because you can have ideas and in your gut you can know that some things are true, but to say you know all of it is, to me, being arrogant in your knowledge, because I think we're all just these little animals, that can't see the forest from the trees. It's like my little rats, right? The way they see me, they probably see me as life giver, as God, right? It's like, no, I'm just some big fucking dude with food that goes to the grocery store and gets it for you, but you can't see it because you're a little rat. How could they ever fully grasp the world around them? They can't. And they would be arrogant to think that they could. But they have pieces of it. They know that I bring them food. They know that the food is good. They know the times of day that I bring them food. They know that I have the ability to get them food when they bug me and say, hey, I want food, So, I don't know. Not sure if that makes sense what I'm saying, but. I enjoy the pondering more than I even want the truth, the answers. Like, I don't think it matters if we have all the answers, but I love the idea of thinking about it and talking to each other about it. Yep, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like science and religion. I wouldn't say religion, but I would say science and spirituality. Because I'm not a fan of religion, because religion, for the most part, is a man's construct. You know, it's created by men, and it's it's controlled by men, and they make rules and shit. But spirituality, like of any kind of belief system, right? I think spirituality and science go hand in hand. But a lot of people don't realize that they can. They feel like it's one or the other, and I don't think it has to be. It's 42. No, it's 23. Speaking of recommendations, what is the best to submit those for you to see? Are you overlooked? What? Are you alerted? Oh, okay. Where is best to submit? You can email me, kananbecker@yahoo.com, on Discord. I definitely see all the Discord vibe usually, especially if you at me. Honestly, anywhere. I'm going to see it. It doesn't mean I'll be able to get to it, because the only ones I can really ever get to definitely are the ones like to do with Tubi. Because Tubi is where I always kind of dig deep. And, like I had a number of people for a while now be recommending the movie Black Mountain Side. So I finally watched that yesterday. But yeah, I appreciate all the recommendations. I just can't always get to all of them. It isn't ever about not wanting to, though. Or that I don't want recommendations. Like, I need them. They help me. Like I said, Black Mountain Side. Like, I've been wanting to watch it for a while. It's been on my queue for a while. Shudder's the other one. Recommendations on Shudder and Tubi are the ones that help me out the most. The ones that I can't ever cover, and it's frustrating, but I get a lot of them, and it's when you guys recommend a movie that I can't find streaming anywhere. Because I only have time to watch movies that are going to serve a video. Like, even if I don't watch the whole movie, the only times I'm ever going to be able to get to them is if I can recommend them, on one of the streaming services. Because other than that, unless it's one of the greatest of all time that I've missed, but that's pretty rare. But it's just hard to, I don't have the money or time to be renting old classics, unfortunately. It's why I do make these other lists, though, so that I can get to those movies sometimes. It's like I want to make Werewolf Part 3 pretty soon, probably in October. And then I'll be able to actually go watch some of those recommendations I got at the time, like the older movies that I haven't seen, like especially 70s werewolf movies and stuff that I just hadn't seen. Sorority Babes. I'm pretty sure I saw that on the last drive-in. I believe Joe Bob covered that one. Oh, I love Maniac Cop. Watch Maniac Cop 2. It's just as good. Have you seen... no, someone else asked that earlier. Leslie asked that. Is that a new one? Is that a new one added to Shudder, or? Yeah, and that's the thing. When people recommend off Tubi, those help me out a lot, because I always add them to my queue. Like the majority of the time. Sometimes they slip through the cracks, but for the most part, I add them to the queue. And then when I'm, ready to make a new list on Tubi, I can just go down my queue and be like, start this one for a few minutes. If it doesn't grab me, go to the next one, or whatever. But they help me a ton, because then I don't have to do as much homework to figure out what to watch on Tubi. It's like I already have this list of ones I need to check out. So yeah, I definitely remember watching it back in the day on Up All Night as well. I just think it's one that might have been recently done by The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob. I don't understand why you put your address. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Linnea Quigley was just absolutely gorgeous. Hey, Jack, I don't know why you put your address in here, bud. But you really shouldn't put any personal information in there. Oh, okay. Well, I just deleted it, David. Sorry, I thought it was your address, and I don't want your personal shit on here. So I thought maybe you put it on accident, so I deleted it. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm already working on a third werewolf list. It's just a matter of, I think I only need maybe one or two more on it. So it's really just a matter of the time to watch a couple more, to finish it up, and then I mean, I have like 30 movies to pick through, but I think I have settled on about 8 of them. Man, I banned Jack Doobie somehow. I don't know how to unban him. That sucks. Like, I totally blocked that dude, and I don't know how to unblock him on here. I'm gonna have to do some research to figure out how to unblock that guy. Because I thought I was just deleting his comment, but I guess it actually blocked him. Yeah, the name Necrochronic, it looks super familiar, but I don't know if I don't think I've seen it though. Alright guys, it's getting dark, and so I'm going to be bugging people soon by talking during the movies. So, plus I really got to pee. I've needed to pee for a while. So, I'm going to take off. I really appreciate all you guys hanging out. You're awesome. So, thank you so much, guys. And like always, remember, horror can be fun. I'll see you guys later. I might do a live another one this weekend sometime, so we can hang out a little more, but we'll see. Either way, I'll have another new video dropping on Tuesday. I dropped a video today. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely go check it out. But I'll see you guys later.